Mohamed Salah is on his knees in tears. Egypt had a 2-0 lead, the match was over, and then a penalty that 3 broadcast networks immediately flagged as statistically impossible to defend under current FIFA protocol handed Lionel Messi the lifeline that changed everything. Egypt are out, Argentina advance, and tonight, Egyptian President El-Sisi has issued an ultimatum that has turned a refereeing controversy into an international trade war. Zurich has until midnight to respond. The world is watching. Inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Egypt produced one of the most tactically complete performances by an African nation in the history of World Cup knockout football. From the opening whistle, their game plan was executed with a precision and discipline that left the Argentine coaching staff visibly alarmed, and the analytical networks monitoring the match in real time, reaching for language adequate to describe what they were watching. Egypt's defensive structure was built around one central intelligence: that Argentina's attacking patterns, without the space and time that Lionel Messi requires to operate as a creative force rather than a reactive one, become predictable, manageable, and as the first half demonstrated conclusively, stoppable. The Egyptian midfield pressed with a coordinated aggression that disrupted Argentina's build-up sequences from the first minute. Their defensive line held shape under sustained attacking pressure with a collective organization that belied every pre-match narrative about the gap in quality between the two squads. 2 goals. A 2-0 lead that was not flattering. It was earned, constructed, and fully deserved by the evidence of what had happened on the pitch across 67 minutes of football. Inside the executive boxes at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, sources describe a specific, documented panic spreading through the FIFA commercial operations team as the scoreline held, and the mathematical reality of Argentina's elimination, and with it the elimination of Messi from the tournament's knockout narrative, became increasingly undeniable. The crown jewel of international football's commercial architecture was facing immediate expulsion, and then, in the dying minutes, the whistle went. The penalty that changed the match, and triggered a geopolitical crisis, arrived in the 88th minute. The contact inside the Egyptian penalty area was real. That much is not in dispute. What is in dispute? What 3 separate broadcast analysis teams, reviewing the footage simultaneously from multiple angles, described as extraordinarily generous by the standards applied to comparable contact situations across this entire tournament, is whether the contact met the threshold that the current FIFA penalty protocol requires for an award. The data from Egypt's own attacking sequences tells the second half of this story. In the 43rd minute, a contact situation inside the Argentine penalty area, contact that independent analysts graded as comparable or greater in force to the 88th minute incident, was waved away by the on-field referee without VAR consultation. The Remote Technology Center did not initiate a review. In the 61st minute, a second incident, a clear arm-to-face collision on an Egyptian striker inside the 6-yard box, produced the same result. Wave on, no review, play continues. The pattern is precise, time-stamped, and documented in the formal protest dossier that the Egyptian Football Association submitted to FIFA's disciplinary board within hours of the final whistle. 2 unchecked Egyptian incidents, 1 Argentine penalty award that the VAR system activated for immediately. The asymmetry is not subtle. The timestamps make it undeniable. And what happened in Cairo when the footage circulated is something that FIFA was entirely unprepared for. The financial architecture that surrounded every officiating decision in this match is not a background detail. It is the central fact that makes the VAR pattern impossible to dismiss as coincidence, and it is the fact that Egypt's government has placed at the center of its trade ultimatum. An Argentine elimination at the round of 16 removes Lionel Messi from the knockout tournament permanently. That removal does not merely reduce viewership, it collapses it, specifically, immediately, and across the global audience segments whose engagement with this tournament is most directly and contractually indexed to his presence. Industry analysts tracking the commercial impact of a Messi elimination project an immediate 45% crash in global advertising retention metrics for the remainder of the tournament. Every primetime broadcast slot sold against the assumption of his continuing participation loses a corresponding portion of its commercial value the moment he is no longer in the bracket. The European television syndicates, the global sports apparel empires, and the streaming platforms that paid record-breaking rights premiums for World Cup 2026 did not price those premiums against a tournament in which Argentina exits in the round of 16. They priced them against a tournament in which Messi is active, advancing, and generating the individual narrative moments that justify premium advertising rates in the knockout rounds. The response from Cairo did not travel through football channels. It produced a state-level economic ultimatum delivered through Egypt's official diplomatic mission to Switzerland, addressed directly to FIFA headquarters in Zurich. President El-Sisi, speaking from the state podium in a nationally broadcast address that was picked up by every major international news network within minutes of delivery, stated that Egypt would initiate a total freeze on Western corporate sponsorship distributions and trade pipelines operating through Egyptian commercial networks, unless FIFA produced a full, independent forensic audit of the match data records, including the complete communication logs between the on-field referee and the remote VAR technology center ARJ within 48 hours. The trade networks in question are not marginal. Egypt sits at the intersection of African, Middle Eastern, and European commercial supply chains of significant collective value. A freeze on those pipelines is not a symbolic gesture. It is an economic weapon with the capacity to produce immediate, measurable financial damage to the corporate ecosystem that surrounds this tournament. The ultimatum has a deadline. Zurich has less than 48 hours to produce the audit documentation or face the activation of the trade freeze. And unlike the formal sporting protest channels that FIFA has decades of experience in managing and delaying, a sovereign trade embargo operates under international commercial law, territory where FIFA's institutional immunity frameworks carry no weight. The geopolitical dimension of the Cairo ultimatum has collided with a commercial crisis that was already building inside the broadcasting infrastructure of this tournament. Because the audience reaction to the 88th minute penalty in the regions most directly affected, Africa, the Middle East, and the global Egyptian diaspora, has been immediate, coordinated, and precisely targeted at the commercial infrastructure it will damage most. Multi-platform streaming boycott movements organized across social media are producing viewership abandonment metrics at remarkable speed. Media conglomerates that paid record-breaking premiums for World Cup 2026 broadcast rights are now reviewing advertising exposure, while corporate sponsors reassess campaign strategies built around those audiences. FIFA is confronting a broadcasting crisis and a sovereign trade ultimatum simultaneously, with a 48-hour clock running on both. Here is the verdict, delivered with the full weight of what this investigation has documented. Egypt were the better team for 87 minutes of a World Cup knockout match. Their performance was genuine, brilliant, and fully deserving of the 2-0 lead they had constructed. Mohamed Salah was extraordinary. Their defensive organization was historic. None of that can be taken from them by a refereeing decision, by a penalty award, or by the commercial architecture that the forensic evidence suggests may have shaped the environment in which those decisions were made. But the 3 officiating data points, 2 unchecked Egyptian penalty claims, 1 Argentine award in the 88th minute, exist in a documented record that demands a transparent forensic response, not because the result should be reversed, not because Argentina did not deserve the chance the penalty gave them, but because Egypt's government has now deployed sovereign trade power to demand an answer, and when a G7-scale economy activates trade infrastructure as a response to a VAR decision, the question being asked is no longer a sporting one. It is a question about whether the commercial dependencies embedded in modern tournament architecture have grown so large that they can no longer coexist with the sporting neutrality the tournament claims to represent. FIFA now faces growing pressure as calls for an independent forensic audit continue. Whether the decisions were intentional or simply human error, many believe only a transparent investigation can restore confidence in the tournament. What do you think? Share your verdict in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth football analysis and real-time updates as this story continues to develop. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next breakdown.